2017 because we started working in the same hotel on that
What
day.
chord change would be good and stuff like that. And
By fans, and I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. They were like,
he's a legend in his own right, you know, and his show was absolutely amazing. He really rocked the house down, man.
it was.
Les Paul, you know, we're using many different guitars to achieve the sound we want. Just by staying in the same place, you know, you go out and you see different things, you get different perspectives, you see new faces, you meet new people. And
Hi, hello everyone. Today in the podcast we have like Jack and Christoph, two of my best friends, to represent the Raccoons. So we can next smart chit chat together with him. We can ask about some questions about how they inspire, how they conduct music, about their hobbies and everything. So let's start with Chris. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing very fine, thank you. How are you, Archie?
I'm good as well.
Great.
Jack, how are you?
I'm doing all gravy, thank you.
So we can first start with Chris.
Yeah.
So tell me, Chris, how did you find Jack and the other boys?
Well, actually I met Jack on the 1st of September 2017 because we started working in the same hotel on that day.
Okay.
And I've met him in the human resources department.
Yeah.
Okay.
And curiously, it's the same hotel where we met each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Oh yeah.
that's actually, that's where our lines crosses. So yeah, I met Jack right there, and we had our first date here together. And actually, we worked at the same amount of time. We had our first date together, and we quit on the same day also.
Same day.
Yeah, on the same day, like after 2 years.
Okay.
That's where I met Jack, and through Jack I met Andrew. We actually met, all of us met Andrew also through a mutual work colleague, because she said like, yeah, there's this guy from Scotland you should meet. He also lives in that place where you live.
They say Andrew from Scotland.
Yeah, Andrew's a proud Scot, isn't he? All right. And then we met Andrew at some point, and we noticed that we like had the same interests regarding music and that kind of stuff, and that we share the same humor.
Okay.
And
But actually during the time of the Hills we didn't make music or anything. That
Yeah.
came all after.
Okay. No, so same question is for you as well. So how do you find this out of the same hotel?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay.
we worked in the Hilton together, and then we started hanging out more and more.
Okay.
And then when COVID lockdown started, that's when we started to, as I mentioned last time, that's how we started to come to the idea of playing music and
Okay.
writing music.
because we didn't have anything else. We had a lot of time and
Yeah.
no money.
Okay.
Now we have at least work, but still no money. But
Yeah, but
that's also quite
yeah,
fine.
but don't worry. It's also like I hope for the best. Like the reforms, the music which you make, especially in the next 5 years will go up. So my question, I have a question in my mind. Like where are you from exactly? Which part of England? Because you tell all like Andrew is from Scotland, because I don't know about. So where are you from exactly in the UK?
Well, I'm from close to Bristol, and like next to a town called Glastonbury, which is famous for the festival.
Okay.
And yeah, just in a small village close to there.
Okay. And you?
Very beautiful.
And Chris, where are you from exactly? Like.
Well, I was born in a town which is about 2 hours away from Frankfurt, but I've spent most of my childhood in Geneva in Switzerland and in France. So I would say, if you ask me for my roots, I would say I identify as from that part of town.
Okay. So how do you write music together?
Well, we actually don't have a plan. Music actually comes to you and not the other way around.
Yeah, so
You actually can't sit down and say like, all right, let's do this.
Okay.
Normally it is like a normal situation that leads into like a writing process. Someone comes up with something, and then you start
or it
working
just
it out.
happens right there in the moment, then and there. Someone just picks up a guitar or says that they have some lyrics, and then you match together the two.
Okay, do you have any specific one in your band that you can write only music, or it's up to you? Like for example,
I would
if you're
say
a band, you can
everyone-
write or this or
I would say everyone does a bit of everything. Like I mentioned before, I think Chris is more like helping out with the more technical theories, like what chord change would be good and stuff like that. And I write a lot of lyrics in my spare time, but quite often I have like unfinished lyrics, and then the guys will help me finish it off or tweak it a bit, you know, to fit the song. Yeah, I'd say that's mostly how it gets done.
Yeah, so basically you just sit down and someone has an idea and you start working it out. And I mean, if it goes fine, you're done after 10 minutes because it flows into each other.
Yeah.
But sometimes, of course, you sit there like for 3 hours and you get nothing productive.
We have some songs where we started them like 2 years ago, and they're still not
they're
that.
still not done.
Still not that developed. You know?
But can I ask you why it's still not done? Like, why is
Yeah.
the work is too lazy?
Like, you know, the schedules are difficult to, they all have shift work and...
Okay, because maybe the people who is really trained for the band, so they will wait for the music. They will wait for the music to be used.
But like Chris said before, it happens quite naturally in the writing song. And you can't just sit down and say like, yeah, we're gonna finish it right now. Like, it's a creative thing. It's not like a workload, like mathematics or lifting stuff, you know.
And we experience also like when we go into like writing or recording session, and we really like pressure ourselves, like we gotta get this done right now. Like normally that leads to nothing.
Yeah.
And we're in the lucky situation that we're not living off of it, so we're not dependent on getting anything done.
What band do you inspire?
Well, I guess my biggest inspiration, or like my most favorite band of all time, are the Beatles. That I'm actually a lifelong Beatles fan. First time I've heard, well, I remember back then it was in December 2006 when I first saw or like noticed the Beatles, because I saw a movie. I saw one of the Beatles movies, A Hard Day's Night. They were showing it on TV, and when it started, there's like this really famous. The movie starts with like a scene. There's a black screen, and then there's like loud G chords drumming in, and like the picture pops up, and there's the Beatles running down the street getting chased by fans. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. And they were like, after watching this movie, I felt like, wow, these guys, they look good. They were a unit. They were witty. They were creative, and I mean, you never had anything like this after the Beatles, and also before the Beatles. You had Elvis. Before Elvis, there was nothing. But I guess after Beatlemania took over the world, that was quite intense, I guess, back then. And but also after they stopped touring and when the Beatles developed into a studio band, like when you think about that, back then everything was analog. You didn't have like anything digital, so you would use a sample for sound or anything. So if they wanted to have like a specific sound, they had to figure out how to get there and how to produce that sound.
They like made the path for a lot of bands, like they set the way, you know. And a lot of bands, especially in the 20 years, the first 20 years after Beatles, they often like use them as a template. Okay, how did they do it? We've got to do it like that. And yeah, I think most musicians in the rock band still to this day still take a look at the Beatles for inspiration. And I think it will always be like that. You know?
So do you also inspire?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think everyone in the band is like a big fan. I'm also like very inspired by other big bands from a bit later on, like Queen, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, which I think most people that make rock and roll music are, or rock in general, even from other genres which are not so like.
Okay, did you attend personally any concerts?
The last concert that I went to was.
Talk about last night.
We went to a concert right here. Me and Chris, we went to a concert together, and that was very inspiring.
Okay.
We watched Iggy Pop, and he's a legend in his own right, you know. And his show was absolutely amazing. He really rocked the house down, man.
Yeah. It was actually in the old opera, which was just right behind us, and we walked in, and it was actually quite a short concert, like punk concerts normally are. There's not much talking. There's basically just music. But yeah, it was like, I think 1 hour and 20 minutes, but as soon as Iggy walked off the stage and we walked out of that opera house, we were like, whoa. We walked out as different persons.
I really felt inspired when I watched a musician like him, like knowing how he like dedicated his life to music, you know, and he went through a lot of things. And
well, it's a miracle that he's still alive and able to walk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One of my favorite songs by him is called The Passenger, and I always find it interesting, the story about how he wrote it in the S-Bahn of Berlin. Yeah, it's crazy. And then to see that song performed live here, wow.
Live here in opera?
Yeah, it was here, yeah. It's not really a normal venue for a concert like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, he rocked that house down.
He did.
Do you have any role model?
Yeah.
I mean, I use.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, like regarding music, I find that like, of course, the Beatles are very important to me, especially John Lennon. Regarding his music, I guess it's a very hipster thing to say like, yeah, John Lennon is my idol, but I'm not like only looking down on it as him as a person, but also like what he achieved in his life regarding, he changed, like in that short amount of time he had on this planet, he died at age 40, and in that short amount of time he changed the world like quite hard regarding the music, and also because of his political views, and I mean he was just an important person of that time back then, and just also in that combination together with Paul McCartney, they did something which is like really inspiring to me, because I guess that's also part why the music of the Beatles is so popular all around the world, because Beatles music is mostly about peace, love and understanding, which are like three values that are like quite very important to everyone, I guess.
I think you was in UK. I see your picture on Instagram.
Yes, Jack and I actually went to Liverpool earlier this year, and that was really amazing. Like to see where everything started from the ground, where like these guys met, and where they played their first concerts, and where we got to see like the hall or the place where John and Paul actually met for the first time. And it's not open to public. We were quite lucky. But that was amazing. And last year I've been to New York in December, and I went to see the John Lennon Memorial on the anniversary of his death. So that was also really, really emotional and great. But I would say from like famous persons, my role model is John Lennon. If I have to pick one.
I would go definitely for Freddie Mercury as an icon of mine, a role model. You know, something I really like about him and admire is that, he lost his way sometimes, but by the end of it, he was very close with his friends and Queen, and he gave everything until the last second. And for example, the song "The Show Must Go On," we visited the place where that was actually recorded in Switzerland, he actually wasn't feeling so well that day, and the guitarist Brian May said to him, Freddie, you don't need to do that, you can do it another time. And he said, I'll do it, darling. And he took a shot of alcohol, and he did the song in one take,
Which is crazy.
And "The Show Must Go On" is like one of the greatest vocal performances ever. And the thing that he did that when he was so sick, I think people have no excuse to say that they are not capable to do something amazing creatively, when you think about a situation like that. Like, he was dying, he was very close to death, and he still gave one of the best vocal performances of all time, and I find that very inspiring. I often think about that when I make music myself.
So I think what I also wanted to say, regarding role models, I think it's also important. I mean, I guess everyone has a role model or an idol which is like famous,
this is very important.
which is a famous person.
It's not about only music, but it's about everything. My point of view, if you ask me a question, I think everyone needs a role model in your life. Like, it's not about music, it's about sport, everything. Everybody inspired for someone.
Yes.
So it's very important to have a role model in your life.
Well, for me personally, I also have like a role model which is like quite near to me. It's my father, because he's also, I guess like this, I would say I got like my creative or like my musical genes from him, because he's also been a musician a long time, and he started playing the guitar when he was also at a very young age. And actually he inspired me back then to learn an instrument, because once I remember we were at our home, and I was like 6 or 7. We went to and I went down to the basement to his office, and I saw like there was like a basket standing around. I was like, yeah, what's that? And I was like, yeah, there's a guitar in there, that's mine. But I never actually saw him play or anything. I didn't knew that he was playing an instrument, and I was like, yeah, can you play something for me? And at that time he had stopped playing guitar for like I think 10, 15 years. He didn't have time for it. And then he picked it up again, and he played a little bit, and afterwards I started taking lessons and to learn the guitar, and he's also afterwards he started playing the guitar again, and now he's like back at it again since like a couple of years, which is like great. And he's also recording music, also with me together, which is like super great to have like a hobby together with your father to share like that. To share that, it's like really amazing, and like basically everything I know about music theory or like techniques or anything, I know from him. So it's like he's really my mentor.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's come from your genes, from father.
Yeah.
So I hope it's in my mind. When you take it out for the first time, how old?
Well, I was 6 or 7 years old. 6 or 7. 6
I
years.
was about maybe 8 or 9. I remember that my mom was leading a scout troop, and she bought a guitar for the scouts that the kids could use it at the club. And but it was always kept in our house, and I just picked it up. It was like this cheap black piece of guitar. It wasn't that good, you know, but I had a lot of fun of it on it. And then after that, I got like a rip-off Stratocaster guitar, which was my beginning guitar, you know. And then I was in like a few bands where we played covers and like wrote some songs, but nothing like too much. And then it just continued from there. Really, I never got a lesson or something. Just played with feeling. You know? And it's been like that ever since.
It's my question. Like, there is some special guitar you play instruments, or just like, because I don't know about guitar.
Well, it depends on what kind of sound you want to achieve.
For heavy metal, we can use another one.
Yeah, I would use the one I had, which was called Dean ML, and it was used by Dimebag Darrell from Pantera, but I hardly ever use that one because when I'm making like more music in that style. We all, funnily enough, we all have the same guitar.
Same guitar?
Like pretty much.
The same model, no?
The same model.
So what is the model name?
It's actually, the model name is the brand name is Epiphone, and the model name is Casino. We're going to blend in right now a picture where all the three of us is going to hold that guitar. And funnily enough, Jack and I were at a music store in Frankfurt here, because I wanted to take a look at a guitar, and we walked past like these Epiphones, and I was like, yeah. At that time, Jack didn't have like an electric guitar which was like in a proper state, because the team was a little bit injured, let's say it like that, and he was thinking about getting a nice, reasonably priced guitar,
more classical sounding.
classical sounding. And we walked past that, and I was like, yeah, Epiphone Casino is actually quite nice, and why don't you go for that one? And he played it a little bit, and I think a couple of days later he bought it. And then when he got it, and Andrew came to our place, and then Andrew played it, and he was like, oh, it feels great, I also want to have that. But the same day, Andrew also ordered the same model.
The same model?
The same model. And Jack and Andrew's Epiphones are all blue colored.
They're exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Because I saw all of them in the wall. Where you live in also time, I think. Because I saw lots of guitar.
They're the blue one,
The blue one, okay.
Yeah. So Jack's and Andrew's guitars are both blue, and they're exactly the same model, and mine is actually natural wood, because I wanted it to have it like all natural. And at some point, it was not available the whole time, and then at some point there was one guitar available, and I directly bought it. And so that's the story how all the three of us got the same guitar.
But yeah, we're also using like Fender 6, which is a 16 bass. We both got one. Stratocaster, Les Paul. You know, we're using many different guitars to achieve the good sound we want.
Okay, what's the biggest meaning?
That's a difficult question, I guess. Well, I mean, music means.
Or what is music for you? First of all, what is music for you?
Well, music is life, isn't it?
Yeah, music is like, when you're sad, you turn to music. When you're happy, you put music. You know, like in every there's music for every situation. Like there's art for every situation.
And I guess like music can mean different things to different people. It's always about your opinion. I mean, you could listen to a song and one person will think about it, don't like it that much. Another person will think, oh yeah, it's great, it really touched my heart. And the third person will think, oh, I had a good coffee this morning. So it depends on the person and on the opinion, or of course on the taste.
My personally playing music is it brings me joy, you know, to sing or to play guitar or do anything creating any kind of music brings me a definite sense of joy, you know. I would say.
Also, when you compare like writing and playing your own material and you play it to someone, like the feedback you get, like when you get feedback on it, it makes you feel different than when you play cover on it.
Yeah,
because actually there's been tons of covers of basically every popular song, and I mean, of course it's nice when you do it in your own style, but as soon as you just play it the way how it was recorded, it's gonna be like, yeah, it could sound nice, but it's not gonna touch you as much as the original. And when you write your own stuff and you present it to someone and that person likes it, or like feedback in general is always great. I guess that's the main spirit. That's like the main motivation. Also, what I also wanted to say, like the thing with Jack and me is what I feel when we write music is that we're like balancing each other quite well. I guess Jack's influence keeps me away from keeps the music away from turning into being too corny or too cheesy, and my influence on Jack keeps the music away from getting like too depressive or like too harsh.
Yeah, like I'm quite inspired by a lot of bands which kind of have a melancholic sound, and yeah, sometimes I want to express the hard things in my life and the hard emotions that are difficult to talk about, and you can express them in like an upbeat way, but yeah, you should have songs which are upbeat and some songs which are melancholic and slow. You should have a good balance, man. We find that balance with each other, yeah.
I guess the most important thing about like making music in a band together is like, or like the ideal way would be that everyone keep each other's negative sequences or egos in check, and that the sum of the complete will be like greater than the parts by itself. So that's like really something.
For example, when you come, sometimes I've written a whole song and just with an acoustic guitar, and it sounds a certain way, like it's a good start and everything. For example, our first song, Samantha, I just wrote that in COVID time. I was sat in my pants in a dark room just writing that with acoustic guitar, and then when I took it to the other guys, like Chris added in his harmonies, he's like straightened out the guitar part so it sounded more clean. And then Andrew like laid down a groovy bass line, and the whole. When you compare the first demo I recorded on my phone to the full version, it's quite a crazy contrast, in that way. Yeah. Like everyone brings something to the table, of course. And yeah, it's very nice to work together with other people or in a group. It's really when you play by yourself, it's nice, but when you play with someone else and you have that spark, it's amazing feeling.
I have a question from both of you. Like for example, Chris writes lyrics of the song.
Yeah.
And when you come, you can check the lyrics. Okay. Did you exchange sometimes the lyrics? Okay. You want to change
this
one?
But from like in both directions, we're very at peace to speak openly and our true mind, so no one gets happy feelings if you say, okay, I think if you change that would be better in both directions. With the whole band, I think everyone feels like they can speak openly about what they think would be better in a song, and that's what Chris was talking about getting the greater result than one person's opinion, or that's how you achieve that.
So what inspired you to write?
I guess life inspires you. As I said earlier, you can't actually say I'm gonna sit down and write a song right now. It normally comes to you. There's something that happens that inspires you. There's people who could do that better, or that. There's people that get these ideas from really weird stuff, from I don't know.
For example,
from persons walking down the street.
I remember one time I got some lyrics by just walking along and seeing
or you can
some words on a poster.
Or you can just tell the story. For example, did it happen in your life before, you can sit or any garden or sit down the tree and something idea in your mind? Okay, let's
Yeah, normally it comes from like recent events in your life, or like particularly happy moments, or particularly traumatic moments.
Or particularly sad moments.
Yeah, exactly. Like anything which made you feel strongly, like love, for example.
Yeah.
You know, like love is something which is easy to write about because it fills you full of emotion and it gives you. It's like the catalyst to write a song, you know. And yeah, what's a good example? What's a song could you explain?
Well, we got like that one song. We got one song which we published in 2021. It's called Dutch Summer.
Yeah.
Actually, it started out as like a joke song, about we started writing lyrics about mocking about something really random, like mocking something, and then at some point I just came up with like a basic chord progression and a melody, and I made like a quick demo out of it, and then basically we took everything and put it in the drawer for like 1 year, and then we went through Jack's lyrics book, and we found some lyrics that he wrote about, or which got inspired by that year he lived in Amsterdam, and then we were like, sounds interesting, and it could fit the melody and it could fit the vibe of the song, and we basically, after having that song in the drawer for like 1 year, we took it out again and started like messing around on it, and at some point we were like, at this point, like, yeah, it sounds good and we like it.
It's something that's inspired by true events. Yeah, like you said about just when I lived in the Netherlands, and it was quite a chaotic year and was a lot of emotion attached to that, and that's where that came from.
Hey, a question for you, like, which city do you like to go? Like, if you think like this city is touching my really sound, like Frankfurt is different, New York has different vibes, different vibes.
It's funny you say New York because we actually, that's a good example.
Yeah.
We have a song called King of the Upper East Side on our album Trash Panda, and that's one of the first Raccoon songs, and that was inspired because we spoke often about New York and how much we liked it, and then we just got this idea of a busking homeless guy who lives in the subway tunnels, and he just has like a broken guitar, but to him he's the king of the subway, and he sings every day and people love him, and we just put ourselves in that person's shoes and then wrote a song.
Yeah, it was actually our first attempt of like writing a song which tells a story.
Yeah, someone else's story. Yeah.
It's like not a song which like where it tells you like where we express our feelings or anything, or like our opinion. It's like really a song that tells a story to the listener. Yeah, that was our first attempt back then.
Yeah, and we're expressing the emotions of an imaginary person that we came up with, you know.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like because you tell me, like music is everything.
Yeah.
Music, the people have emotion in music. Yeah, because if you write the lyrics, like for example, if any lyrics you can write, but these lyrics touch some cities. Like every city has different vibes. Like if you write, if you are filming this film in London, or if you can shoot in New York, or even you shoot in Frankfurt, you have different vibes. So that's why I think the lyrics to compare to the city is different.
Yeah, I mean, I often get inspired by traveling, but yeah, with New York it was, at first when we got this idea, it was like, it's a bit brave to write a song about New York because it's been done 1,000 times, like how can we be unique with that? But in the end we did it, and we wrote a unique song about New York, and I think the fact that we've both been to New York helped that, you know. If we hadn't been to New York, that song never would have happened.
And what's also about that, back then in mid-2020, when we survived the first lockdown and like we were able to travel a bit again, like in between Europe, in August 2020 we went to Geneva to see my parents for a week, and that was also when we went to Montreux, to that place where Queen had their studio and where we saw the place where Freddie recorded. And Montreux is actually also very known for another super rock hymn, which is "Smoke on the Water" by Deep Purple, which is like one of the famous songs of all time, which also tells a story about someone shooting a flare gun in a concert hall and the casino burns down. But back then, before we went to Geneva, we were standing at the same point the whole time with our music. We couldn't like get it, like we couldn't like move on, and like we couldn't get up with any new ideas or like regarding the songwriting and all that, or like how to record. And like after we went, like we got out of our like natural habit here for like a week, and as we got back, we were like, all right, we got a plan, let's do this. So that was also like very inspiring, like that traveling to that place right there, and like just to feel what it is to be creative.
Yeah, I think traveling is important for inspiration, and it gives you a certain kind of intelligence that you can't get just by staying in the same place. You know, you go out and you see different things, you get different perspectives, you see new faces, you meet new people. And
thank you so much for watching this podcast. Because of some camera issues, and there is no one behind the camera because we record the podcast, so that's why the last question is missing. So I will try my best, because I will make a plan to invite the whole 5 members of Recon groups, and I will make another podcast with the whole group, so then you can watch, and then I will repeat this question again. Keep supporting, keep liking, keep sharing. Thank you so much, and take care of yourself. Bye bye.